The technology of modern warfare. The advancement of technology in the defense industry over the years will likely shape the future of modern warfare. Hey everyone, how are you doing today? Before we proceed with this video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Kindly click on the notification bell to get updates on our exciting content. Today, we look at the technology of modern warfare. The inventor of the atomic model, Niels Bohr, once remarked that predicting the future is particularly difficult. This is a proverb with which Intel's founder Gordon Moore would likely have disagreed. Moore's 1965 prediction regarding the future of computing power was possibly one of the most accurate technological forecasts of the 20th century. His prediction, which became known as Moore's Law, states that the speed and capabilities of our computers will increase gradually every 2 years. Since then, it's been demonstrated that the rule was unerringly prescient. It has gained notoriety as a metric for the rapid technological advancement of the last 60 years. This advancement still appears inevitable. The first 20 years of the 21st century have witnessed an explosion of technological advancements that have impacted economies, cultures, and governments worldwide. Militaries in the realm of warfare are not excluded from the transformation. Technological innovation has gradually altered the way armies interact with one another, redrawing the boundaries of how conflicts are fought. Much of the impetus for this has come from the private sector. Civilian information technologies have become more advanced and they have gradually permeated the defense industry. Also, an increasing number of startups, for instance, are seeking new commercial opportunities for their technology in defense contracting. While the 20th century witnessed tectonic shifts in warfare, from the horse-drawn 1910s to the mechanized 1930s and jet-powered 1940s to the nuclear age, the accelerating pace of modern technology portends a new era. Digital capabilities will increasingly define this new state of affairs. General Richard Barons, a former head of Britain's Joint Forces Command, remarked that the world is witnessing changes on the battlefield as profound as anything in the past 150 years as artificial intelligence, data, and connectivity become the new pillars of warfare. Nonetheless, those are just in the foothills of what is to come. Indeed, there is little doubt that more radical change will be seen in the near future. The requirement to evolve is not new. For centuries, armies have been required to upgrade their weaponry to remain combat ready. Those who fail to modernize forfeit their battlefield advantages. Today, however, this emphasis on physical equipment is giving way to a growing interest in innovative capabilities. What are they exactly? Artificial intelligence, data, increased connectivity, and automation, to put it pithily. All of these elements will support the digital weapons of the future. It's essential to note, however, that these innovations are radically different from anything ever developed before. They are primarily intangible tools. The armor plating of a tank, for instance, is touchable, whereas the latest machine learning algorithms are immaterial, existing only in the command center's computer. The digital revolution indicates the emergence of a new type of ultramodern warfare. Artificial intelligence is an excellent illustration of this. If artificial intelligence can read more data per minute than a human can per year, then its value to militaries is incalculable. In a recent interview with the current Chief of General Staff, General Sir Mark Carleton Smith, he acknowledged that the defense sector is already seeing the implications of quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and robotics on the battlefield. Machine learning, for example, has already been used to separate valuable intelligence from the trivial data that typically overwhelms analysts. This is not to say, nevertheless, that traditional equipment and methods will become completely obsolete. The British Army remains an organization of the industrial age, with an industrial skill set, but it faces innovation challenges. Traditional dangers can still materialize at any moment. The recent deployment of Russian troops along the Ukrainian border and within the Crimea, as well as its naval maneuvering in the Sea of Azov, is illustrative. This overt display of hard power serves as a timely reminder that militaries are still fundamentally composed of hardware and manpower, and that the strategic maneuvering of these pieces remains of the utmost importance. To this end, many theorists argue persuasively that military doctrine and tactics are far more crucial to the outcomes of battles than technological prowess, and that this basic doctrine has changed little since World War I. The imminent victory of the Taliban in Afghanistan, once the American-backed government has capitulated, as appears inevitable, demonstrates that a well-organized, disciplined, and motivated insurgency can still defeat one of the world's leading military powers despite having access to cutting-edge technology. Regardless, there is little doubt that the origin of digitalization has ushered in a new form of warfare. This is primarily characterized by the hybridization of established and emerging technologies or the fusion of industrial hardware with new electronic innovations. Recent conflicts have emphasized this, with small wars in countries such as Libya and Syria, notably for their decisive use of hybrid weapons. Azerbaijan and Armenia fought a brief war in Nagorno-Karabakh, a disputed region in the South Caucasus, as an illustration. It was notable for the use of kamikaze drones by Azerbaijan to quickly defeat the Armenian forces. These drones, also known as loitering munitions, were capable of automatically locating and eliminating their own targets through self-destruction. Launched at the contact of a button and a fraction of the cost of their traditional air force, they neutralized Armenian tanks, air defense systems, and personnel, compelling the country to accept harsh ceasefire terms. Some critics have ventured as far as to assert that this particular use of drones in time and space has signaled the death of the tank, with heavy armor becoming as obsolete as cavalry was in World War I. Drones are emblematic of the current paradigm of increased automation, a digital capability whose significance has become evident in recent years. The rise of military robotics, or lethal autonomous weapon systems, LAWs, as they are known in the military, has led to a global arms race among nations to equip their militaries with self-operating weapons. Observing the effectiveness of Azerbaijani drones, for instance, the Chinese have rushed to test and develop their own drone swarm technology. Numerous tubes on the back of a helicopter or truck would be used to launch drones, which would then relentlessly zero in on their targets. Likewise, American scientists have been testing pocket-sized battlefield devices, including a mechanical cockroach that could be employed in spying on or killing enemy troops. These biomimetic or nature-mimicking weapons will soon appear in combat zones. What was once relegated to the pages of science fantasy stories is now beginning to enter the realm of possibility. Concerns about the extent to which this automation may develop are growing. Human agency is removed from the equation by weapon systems that act and kill on their own. This has created moral dilemmas that are unlikely to be resolved soon. In fact, the international architecture of treaties and protocols governing the world's weapons appears out of step with the current acceleration of scientific progress. From space exploration to cyber attacks, nuclear arms control, and artificial intelligence weapons, the rate of innovation exceeds our ability to regulate it. In the past, nations have agreed to prohibit the development of particularly horrifying weapons. For instance, by the middle of the 20th century, international conventions had banned biological and chemical agents. Nonetheless, there are presently no regulations governing the morality of information-age military technology. Consider assassination. The arsenal of futuristic tools now at the disposal of nations, artificial intelligence, sophisticated tracking of potential victims, and remotely controlled precision weapons has irrevocably altered the assassin's art. It is now a simple and optional option that can be selected at will. Officers, intelligence chiefs, and elected officials should meet with ethicists and attorneys to discuss the limitations of assassination in the current era. In actuality, they're not. Digitalization's ascendance has also affected the nature of warfare in less obvious ways. Specifically, the military application of newly developed information capabilities such as cyber, propaganda, and psychological tactics is becoming increasingly evident. In this area, Britain's adversaries operate increasingly below the threshold of conventional conflict. In recent years, nations such as China and Russia have utilized technology to advance their global geopolitical ambitions. While the United Kingdom and its allies have been mired in counterinsurgency operations for the past 2 decades, depleting their strength in interventions such as Iraq and Afghanistan, these nations have achieved a series of strategic victories, aided and abetted by digital means. Russia, for instance, has perfected information warfare through subversive campaigns aimed at undermining the social cohesion of their enemies. Through the funding of troll farms, state-sanctioned cybercrime, election interference, the dissemination of disinformation, and assassination attempts, they've been working covertly to destabilize Western democracies and rebalance the power in key regions in their favor. What are your thoughts on technology and modern warfare? Is this a good advancement in the right direction? Let us know your observations and thoughts in the comment section below. If this video is insightful for you, then go on and like it. Please kindly subscribe to our channel and click on the bell button for more of our updates.